Hey y'all, Austin here with Outer World Media. Welcome back to another weekly update. I do apologize. This one is coming at the beginning of a new week versus the end. It was just a hectic weekend. Had family in from out of town. But nonetheless, let's get into it. I'm going to start off on a downer. Unfortunately, I'd rather get this just out the way. I'm officially putting my read of Malazan on pause, at least for the next couple weeks. I found myself this last week. I tried reading it, and I found myself forced reading it, and I don't want to do that to the series. This series deserves nothing but my full and utmost attention, and I'm not able to give it to it at the moment, so I'm not sure. I think I'm just gonna in a slump when it comes to this series, so I'm kind of push it off a little bit, kind of wait and see, come try it back, next month and see if I just pick right back up on it. But again, I just kind of wanted to get that out of the way. Get nothing against this series. I really, really enjoyed book one. I don't know. I'm just in a slump right now. I'm not sure why. I'm just kind of in a fantasy slump, I guess. And I found, especially the reason that I came to this conclusion was I kind of put off reading this and read a couple other books, and I flew through them, and that made me realize, hey, you know what? You need to get back to the basics. You need to read because you enjoy it, not because you told people on YouTube you're going to read it. So that is why I am putting a pause/hold on reading that, and just going to continue. Hopefully next month I'll be able to pick it back up and continue it. But until then, so I know you're probably asking yourself, well, what did you read if you didn't read that? Well, if you saw this channel, I did upload a couple book reviews. So we'll get into that real quick. I did finish Have a Nice Day by Mick Foley. I really, really enjoyed this one. Like I said in my review, go check it out. That's probably my longest book review. Maybe aside from Garden of the Moon, I'd have to go back and double check. But I really enjoyed this. Once I got past like page like 150, somewhere between 150 and 200, I could not put it down. I mean, it was to the point it would be like 11:45 o'clock at night, or 12:30 in the morning, and my wife would go from the bedroom to the living room, just kind of go get a drink of water or whatnot, and wake up in the middle of the night, and she'd come out there and I'd be reading, and she'd go, hey, do you want to go lay in bed because you're not going to go to sleep if you keep reading. That's a nitpick I had with this book. It's not on Kindle. Come on, Amazon, what the hell are you doing? Get this on Kindle. I am blaming y'all for my lack of sleep last week. Because I could not put this down. So I'm going to blame Amazon because they don't have it on Kindle. I wasn't able to lay in bed and get nice and relaxing and cozy and kind of drift off to sleep while I was reading it. So again, we're blaming Amazon. But again, really enjoyed this. If you do come across this in the wild, pick it up. Go on Amazon, look it up. I promise you, you're going to enjoy it. It's a 700-some page book. I think I looked the other day to see how much it was going for on Amazon. It's like, I think it was like $8 on Amazon, which are still, considering how thick and much of a chunker this book is. But again, Have a Nice Day by Mick Foley. Pick it up. I promise you will like it. If you're interested in wrestling, or just, the older wrestling, I know there's a lot of people out there that don't care for wrestling nowadays, and I'll be the first to admit it's not as good as it used to be, to some extent. But again, 90s wrestling was just amazing. It was on a whole nother level, and you get a lot of talking about that in here. So again, pick it up. Whether you're a wrestling fan like me or you're not, pick it up. I promise you will enjoy it. Once I finished that, I told y'all that I wanted to pick up can't even speak, the Angel of Indian Lake. I decided to push that off for a little bit. So I picked up a different book, something I normally don't read. And that was a science fiction book, and that is Old Man's War by John Scalzi. This book, I did enjoy it. Like I said in my review, the review was kind of short, I'll be honest with you. Go and check it, and you'll find out more details about this book. Excuse me, there were two things that I really didn't like about this book, and I'll just be blunt and honest, and it was that there's not a whole lot of character development with the main character. Ooh. And I really wish that there was. The second part was a chapter in this book. And look, I get it. I know there's probably going to be people out there that are saying, well, the chapter had to be in there. Okay, I'll be the first to admit, you know what? I can see why that chapter's in there. I understand why the chapter's in there. I just didn't like it. That's my preference. I don't care to have a whole chapter about stuff that I don't care to read about in 3 pages, 1 page, let alone a whole chapter about it. But aside from that, and really it's a nitpick, this book, I really enjoyed it. Enjoyed it enough that I'm going to pick up the rest of the series or the next book in the series at some point in time in the future. I'm not sure when. But again, I did pick this up. I enjoyed it. If you find it out in the wild, pick this up as well. Once I finished those, kind of took Friday night off and just kind of sat there, relaxed, and watched a John Wayne movie. And woke up Saturday. I was like, I need to start another book here, and I could not figure out, what I wanted to read. So I started digging through some books that I bought like 6 months to a year ago, and came across one that I honestly completely forgot that I had, and picked it up, and I thought, you know what, I'll give this a try. Some background history or information on it. I am a huge history buff. I love history. I just never been a big fan of reading about history books, I should say. I love like Roman history, Old West. Kind of starting to get more curious about like around Napoleon times, obviously with the movie Napoleon coming out. Eventually I need to pick up that huge tome of a book. But like the Aztecs, the Mayans, just kind of ancient civilization. But I think I finally cracked the code, and I think I broke the door down, because holy crap, did I enjoy this book. And I am talking about Tombstone by Mr. Tom Clavin. Clavin? I'm going Clavin, because I kept saying Tom Calvin, and that's not the case. It's Clavin. I'm going to go with Clavin. Essentially what this book's about, it is about mainly focusing on Wyatt Earp and his brothers and Doc Holliday going against the Cowboys in Tombstone. Kind of the events that led up to the gunfight at the OK Corral. Like I said, I picked this book up on Saturday. I finished it yesterday evening. I could not put it down. I really couldn't. I told myself, you know what, I'll get to the middle of the book where there's some pictures, kind of cut it off and take my time. No, I couldn't do that. I had to fly through this book and just enjoy the hell out of it. If you are a history buff, I recommend reading this. Kind of the best review that I heard about this book versus some other books that have been out there. This is like Tombstone the movie versus Wyatt Earp the movie, which kind of covers the similar things to a certain extent. But this book, again, it doesn't go too in depth. It doesn't, I don't want to say bore people. It doesn't throw out useless information. But it does cover other stuff outside of Tombstone that kind of had a connection to Tombstone or the people in Tombstone at that time. And whatnot. And I'm just rambling on here. Eventually I'm going to do a review on this, but again, Tombstone by Tom Clavin. Really enjoyed this book. I could not put it down. So I very much enjoyed that. I'm gonna put that somewhere over here. And that's kind of what I read this last week. So I know you're probably gonna ask yourself, well, what are you gonna pick up now and read this week? Well, the more I thought about it, I did a couple impulse buys, but I'm gonna kind of push those off just for a little bit. But I was looking on some fellow YouTubers' channels, and one that I came across, or a video that I came across that I really enjoyed, was by Faceless Book Reviews. He did a review of Last Stand at Papago Wells, and I thought, you know what, I want to pick that up. That's a Louis L'Amour book I haven't read. I didn't watch too much of his review, if I'll be honest with you, just because I didn't want to spoil it or whatnot, and just kind of go into this book unbiased. I started it last night, kind of read a little bit this morning, about 30-some pages into it, which, I mean, is not a whole lot, but this book, I think, is like 112 pages long, so, I mean, it's slowly but surely gonna enjoy this. Super short read. I'm hoping to be done with this in the next couple days, but I figure, you know what, pick that up, read that, and whatnot. And in spirit of, fellow YouTubers and whatnot, another channel that I really like is the Dustin Neely channel. He's a great guy. Love his channel just like I love Faceless Book Reviews channels. Think they do a great job, reviewing books and whatnot. But I did a review the other day of a novel, and was talking to Dustin in the comments, and he said that, my TBR is just too big, which is understandable. There's a million books out there. I wish I could clone myself so I can read more books, or read all the books out in the world. But in spirit of Dustin, and because he can't read it because his TBR is full. Understandably, he's trying to read a lot of Stephen King, and some of them books are just really, really big. Even as a Stephen King fan, I can admit that. So, in honor of that, I am picking up Dry Bones, the next Longmire book. I don't know a whole lot about this. I'm assuming it's about dinosaurs or has dinosaurs in there somewhere. If there's not a Jurassic Park reference in this book, I'm going to be pissed. I'm not going to lie. Mr. Johnson, if you see this, I love your series, but if there's not a Jurassic Park joke in here or reference, I'm gonna be kind of upset, because how can you talk about what I assume, and again, I'm just looking at the cover, how can you have a book about dinosaur bones and not talk about Jurassic Park? But I digress. Once I finish that, and I'm kind of reading that one when I lay in bed at night, I've kind of been debating on what else I would read. I try to keep 2 books going at the same time. Might do 3 now that I'm kind of putting Malazan on the back burner. I feel like Malazan kind of takes up the attention span of 2 books versus 1. I'm kind of debating right now which one I'm going to pick up next. I'm not sure once I'm done with those. I've kind of been debating on it, throughout the day while I was at work and whatnot on my lunch break. And I've come down to 2 books that I might, if I have time, I might pick up. And the first one is Spear by Mr. Michael Crichton. This one kind of sounds like Independence Day meets The Meg, if you've seen those movies. I guess they go down deep in the ocean and they find a spaceship or something. I don't know a whole lot about it. I just know that I like Michael Crichton. I read Jurassic Park and the Lost World. Loved him. And so I've kind of been itching to read a Michael Crichton. Figure, what? Why not try to go with like a sci-fi mystery type of book? But if I don't pick this one up, I might pick this other one up. Like I said, reading Tombstone got me in the mood of, I don't know. I just feel like I need to consume as much history information as I can. I caught myself at work today. I work in an office, listening to some podcasts about history and whatnot. And when I was in the middle of reading Tombstone, I stopped because I had heard about this book a little bit, and I picked it up, and that was Ride the Devil's Herd, Wyatt Earp's epic battle against the West's biggest outlaw gang. This is a nice little chunker of a book. This one is by Mr. John Boesnecker. I'm sorry. I know I mispronounced that last name. Here's a picture of the gentleman on the back. But I ordered this from Amazon. It came in today. And just my luck, and again, I hope that I'm the only one that's had this issue. It's not a knock on the book. I know this is the publisher. It's a publisher issue. The print is at an angle. I don't know if you can really tell being on, here. But as you can see, it kind of gets thinner and gets bigger as it goes. So I did put it into Amazon to get a exchange, hopefully get another copy. That's supposed to be here on Wednesday, so I'm hoping by Wednesday I'll definitely be done with Last Stand of Papago Wells. If my book comes in just fine, I might more than likely pick this up over Spear. But again, we'll have to wait and see. Like I said, I don't know. I'm in the mood to read some Westerns. Not necessarily, fictional, but just non-fiction. I absolutely love the Old West. Grew up learning about the Oregon Trail in school and whatnot. Chisholm Trail, all that, and Tombstone is one of my favorite movies of all time. I mean, how can you not like Tombstone? I mean, come on. But again, that's just kind of, what I think I might read this week coming up. Just kind of throw this out there. Like I said, that's kind of what I'm thinking I might read this week. But again, that is, just kind of what I'm looking at trying to do this week. I know it's kind of a big undertaking for me, but I have a lot of confidence that I can at least get 2 of these books done this week, hopefully. But again, as always, I do appreciate y'all stopping by and whatnot. Got some big plans in the works for next month. I'm not going to give anything away. Got some really big plans next month for the channel, so I'm looking forward to that. I hope y'all have enjoyed this video. Drop it down in the comments below. Let me know, what are y'all reading? What have y'all been up to as far as reading wise and whatnot? Are y'all reading anything that you think I might like? If so, drop the name of the book down below and the author, and I'd be more than happy to look it up and whatnot. But again, as always, I do appreciate y'all stopping by. Y'all have a good one.